This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, let's talk to a man that knows exactly what the Dolphins are doing all the time because he is in the war room all the time. He built the war room. He put the bugs in the war room, and he is Chris Perkins from The Athletic. Perk, how you doing, baby?
Big O, I'm just waiting for a live sporting event, right? I mean, we've had to watch all these replays of games and all this hot stove league and speculation and free agency. I mean, this isn't exactly a live sporting event, but it's as close as we're going to come during this outbreak. So I can't wait till tomorrow night, man.
All right, but be honest with me here because I got to tell you, I have not watched a replay of any game. I did watch for like 2 minutes. I ran into the Heat San Antonio game with 28 seconds left for the comeback to tie it. And then what I did was I turned it off after that. I didn't even watch the overtime. I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. I can't, it's funny. I can watch Die Hard for the 77th time. I can run into Animal House for the 400th time. I can run into Old School. I can watch Role Models, but I don't want to watch a game over. Isn't that's weird?
Yeah, no, I haven't watched a single game. I turned the other day, because I have my DVR set for the Heat games. And so, every now and then I'm scrolling through and I'll see like a Knicks at Heat because they were replaying all these games from the season. But I saw game 3 of the '06 finals. And I watched like the last 58 seconds of the second quarter, and I didn't turn back for the second half. I already know what's going to happen. I can't. You see all these great college football games and college basketball games, but I'm with you, man. I can watch Stanford. I still watch Stanford and Son, Big O.
Sure.
That show is going on 50 years old. I know probably every episode, every line, but I can still watch that. But I'm with you, man. I couldn't watch the Miami Miracle again from a couple of seasons ago. I just can't. I can't rewatch games. I don't know why.
I can't either, dude. I can't find myself to do it. Maybe when 30 years from now or something, if I'm still around, maybe I'll watch something that's really, really old and just to reminisce a little bit. But at this point in time, it's too fresh in my mind right now to even go reminisce about something like that. It's not enough. All right, so Perk, it's been an interesting twist and turn in all of this because it's Tua, and no, they love Herbert now more than Tua, and now people are saying no quarterback. They're going to take a position player. So you tell me, my man, what avenue right now, what's your gut tell you? What is Chris Grier going to turn in at number 5? Is he going to turn in one of those 2 quarterbacks? Or is he going to go with a position player, and who is that position player?
I would say it's Tua at number 5. I don't think they're going to trade up. I think that they get the quarterback. And look, if Tua is gone, I still think they take Justin Herbert. I think that they're taking a quarterback at number 5, and primarily because I think that's what Stephen Ross wants. And listen, if you were at the owners' meeting in Phoenix last year, or you remember reading about it, Steve Ross was one of his big themes was, I've listened to the GM and I've listened to the coach and I haven't listened to my heart. And he, this is his team now. But he feels that he's been in the game long enough that he can override people. He can really put his stamp on the franchise. And I'm not saying that he doesn't want to listen to anybody and he can't be talked out of anything, but I think that Stephen Ross is really set on finding a franchise quarterback in this draft, and I think that he is set on Tua. So I think it's going to be Tua at number 5, if not Tua, Justin Herbert at number 5.
Wow. I kind of, Perk, I feel the whole Herbert thing is all a smokescreen by so many people, because I can't imagine that they don't see what we see, that he's just not the guy. There's no dog in that guy. I don't see a guy that can take over. I don't see a guy that is deadly accurate. I don't see a guy that is fundamentally sound. I see a guy that's still a project, and he's enticing because he's what you would build as the prototypical quarterback, body-wise and all that, athleticism, but everything else about him doesn't say that he's the prototypical quarterback. I just have a hard time believing that they're going to take, but then I think of Blaine Gabbert, and then I think of, Ryan Tannehill at number 8, and I start to think of some of the other projects, and maybe it is, hell, Blake Bortles was taken, top 5, so why not this guy? But somehow or another, I just think this is a smokescreen, and he's the guy that's going to drop in this draft.
Well, I'll say this, that, for whoever the Dolphins take at quarterback, there's no pressure for him to play now because you have Ryan Fitzpatrick. So, look, you could be looking at a Patrick Mahomes situation, right, where whoever they draft in the first round, and granted, number 5, you want that guy to be out there from day one, but you do have time. So maybe the guy sits for the first 10 games of his rookie season before he takes over and starts. I just, from everything that I know of Steve Ross, I know that his goal is to find that franchise quarterback definitely in the next 2 years, but most likely this year, in a year where you've got 3 first-round picks, you've traded Laramie Tunsil, you've traded Minkah Fitzpatrick. Everything is really kind of geared toward, toward getting that quarterback. And really, after talking to somebody and thinking about Steve Ross, that was kind of what led me to write the column and go to the opinion that I could see them doubling up this year in the first 3 rounds on quarterbacks and taking a Jalen Hurts. The only quarterback that I've heard negative things about from the Dolphins is Jake Fromm. I heard that they didn't like his arm strength. Does that mean? And I heard that during the season. Now, does that mean they won't take him in the second round? I have no idea, but I would like to see them take 2 quarterbacks this year, one at number 5, and then whoever else you want to take, ranging from Jordan Love to Jalen Hurts. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I don't like Fromm either. I think he's a jag. I don't think he's.
Yeah,
I don't think he's ever going to be anything much more than a backup. Really, that's kind of the way I view the guy as a backup overall. I'm with you there. So then, if you've got them taking that quarterback, so you've got them going offensive line at number 18.
I do. Actually, we just had a mock draft for The Athletic yesterday, and I think it's going to be released this afternoon or maybe tomorrow morning. But I had them taking Tua at number 5, and then I actually made a trade with Cleveland to get up to number 10 and take Tristan Wirfs for fear that he was going to be gone. And then at number 26, I had them taking A.J. Epinesa, the kid from Iowa. So I do have them taking 2 Iowa kids in the first round, and Tristan Wirfs and Epinesa. Maybe I should have taken the kid from Penn State, Yatura Gross-Matos, at 26, perhaps even DeAndre Swift. But I felt good about trading up to 10 with Cleveland. Gave up number 39. I overpaid. I gave up 39, that first pick of the second round, and I should have stopped there, but I threw in a 5th rounder, number 173, just so that Cleveland would accept it. But getting Tua and getting Tristan Wirfs there at 5 and 10, I felt good about it. Is that what the Dolphins do? I don't know if they trade up, but I do think that they do their best to get an offensive lineman with that second first-round pick.
What do you think of the reports that they go for position player and then they trade up for Love with that 18th pick? Or Tony Pauling told us they may not even have to trade up. Love may fall to them right there and then, actually. What do you think about that?
I don't have a big problem with it. I don't have that much conviction about Jordan Love, but if Ross and Greer and Flores do, I don't have a problem with it because, again, it's not like Jordan Love has to be your day one starter. You've got Ryan Fitzpatrick here. And look, and my quarterback philosophy even goes probably a little, deeper than a lot of people would prefer because, look, if Jordan Love or Tua or Justin Herbert or whoever doesn't work out, I'm not afraid of using that first-round pick next year and one of those 2 first-round picks next year on a quarterback. yeah, it would be kind of ridiculous. And look, and that's still saying that you take two quarterbacks this year. So in my world, if you use a first and a third this year on a quarterback and neither of them are the guy, I wouldn't be afraid of using a first again next year for Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence or whoever else might pop up. But and I think that that's really close to Steve Ross's philosophy. Again, going back to those owners' meetings last year in Phoenix, where he seemed, and that was over a year ago, but I don't think that he's changed. So he really seems determined to get this franchise quarterback or get some guys in here as rookie first-round picks who could be the franchise quarterback, but he seems set on getting that aspect of the franchise down, and then you progress. So that's why I stick with, number 5, somebody in the third round, and possibly even the first round next year. But I think Steve Ross is really going to put his stamp on the franchise in these next 2 years with his all-out pursuit of a possible franchise quarterback.
Perk, while I don't trust Tua to stay healthy, I like everything else about the kid. And I'm not for taking him at 5, but I'm not going to rip the team if they do take him, because I understand the risk and the reward. Why not take the chance? If the kid stays healthy, he can pass the damn ball. So you're going to have yourself a quarterback. So take the chance. Plus, you have 13 other picks. You can have a great freaking draft without Tua. And with Tua, if he becomes the guy, you would have the greatest draft in Dolphin history. That's the way it should be looked at. So I understand when you're the Dolphins and you got all these picks, you can take that gamble. And I would take a position player. I would take a tackle personally. For you personally, what would you take at 5? Not what the Dolphins would do. What would you do at 5?
Chris Perkins, the GM, is taking Tua.
Okay.
And I'm rolling the dice. Quite honestly, I'm scared of his medical. I don't think he's going to last much longer than RG3, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we can catch lightning in a bottle. Maybe he stays healthy for whatever reason. But I'm backing that pick up with another quarterback, in the first 3 rounds. But there's very little doubt in the mind of Chris Perkins, the GM. If Tua is there at number 5, I'm taking him.
Is there another quarterback that you like? I know we talked to Jordan isn't your guy. So after that, after the top 3 guys, if they don't go with the top 3 guys, and I'm leaving Burrow out because obviously that conversation is not even worth having. But after that next phase, those guys that come after, is there a guy out there, Eason, Gordon, you name it out there, James Morgan from FIU? Is there another guy that intrigues you that if they don't go quarterback early, you hope they take somebody out of that group?
Jalen Hurts. I like his intangibles. I think the kid is a winner. I think he knows offense. I'm not thrilled by his passing skills, but you know what? Competition with Tua, with Ryan Fitzpatrick, maybe that takes him up a notch. Sitting here and learning for a year, maybe that can take him up a notch. I don't think he's ever going to be a Tom Brady accurate guy, but he does seem to have an intangible of kind of that rising tide lifting other ships. So, Jalen Hurts. I'm not sure about Eason. I've watched a little bit of film on him, but I'll admit I haven't done a whole lot of studying on him. I don't know how he is as a second rounder, but I do like Jalen Hurts. So.
Yeah, Eason is a statue, my brother. He can't move.
Yeah.
But he has got a freaking cannon, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe the best arm in the draft he may have. You know what I mean? And so that's the only reason why I would take a chance on that kid in the second round, because he's still green. There's not a lot of tape on him still. And so there's still question marks. But my Lord, if that kid is accurate, it's going to be scary, because he can make any throw. He can spin that ball, baby. I mean, he is an impressive cat with his arm. The other guy I like is Anthony Gordon from Washington State. I like the Davidson kid from Princeton. I like Nate Stanley from Iowa. There's a couple of projects that I would take a chance on. Most of them are going to fail, but one of those guys is going to hit, bro, because usually a guy later on in the draft usually finds his way, and so you don't
Right.
know which one it be. Might be Jalen Hurts. There's a lot of people, Jalen has that it thing that you're talking about that
Right. Right.
you can't coach it, bro.
Correct.
He has what you never saw out of Ryan Tannehill.
Yes, I agree. He is a quarterback,
Right.
and that take that in the highest complimentary sense that it can be meant. Again, the accuracy. I'm just not sold on him as a pure passer, as a guy who places the ball right where it needs to be, but. From watching the kid, at Alabama and Oklahoma and watching a little bit of video of him, I really like him. I think he's worth the risk. Let me ask you this, Big O. What about Josh Rosen? Because my thing with Josh Rosen is I'm keeping him. Even if I draft 2 quarterbacks, and I'm taking 4 to camp, and I'll let them duke it out, and whoever makes it, and maybe I carry 3 on the roster and 1 on the practice squad, but there will be quarterback competition in a Chris Perkins training camp in 2020.
Well, I got to tell you something. I think Chris Greer thinks just like you. That's why he made a move for Rosen last year. That's why he's going to make another move for a quarterback this year. And I listen. I've been from day one saying that if you draft 2 at 5, go take another guy later on because you're taking a very injury-prone guy. So at least you get something out of this draft. If he stays injury-prone, you still have a project in whatever, James Morgan or whoever you want to take later on in the draft. So I'm with you, man. But I think you have a guy. See, the thing that I see from Chris Greer is that he watched for nearly 20 years the idiots in front of him make all kinds of mistakes and do all kinds of stupid things. And if you watch in the last year, he has been the polar opposite of your typical Dolphin general manager. You know what I mean? We haven't seen a guy that was wheeled and dealed like he has since Jimmy, actually. Jimmy was the closest to doing stuff like this. And so to me, when I see Greer's signing guys early before they become free agents, things they weren't doing. Last year he got a second rounder and said, you know what, I'll turn it into 2 second rounders. Even though I won't make it this year, I'll make that selection next year, but I'll get Josh Rosen in the process too. That kind of stuff to me it's creative. You know what I mean? And what I'm seeing a forward-thinking dude right now. I'm seeing a guy that is trying to make things happen. And I love the move of Josh Rosen, whether it succeeds or fails, because you're trying. And you're never going to hit if you don't keep swinging, dude. And this time, again, get to the plate and swing. And keep swinging, because eventually you're going to knock one out of the park.
Yeah, and you know what? This leads to one of my favorite topics is that I'm still not sure that we know what we have in this front office of Brian Flores and Chris Greer.
That's fair.
Because I think that you could say that they've been in the last year, I don't know the term, subtly aggressive or passively aggressive when you look at the Josh Rosen trade and then you make Byron Jones the highest paid cornerback in the NFL. You collect these defensive ends and free agency. A lot of these moves are for relatively low profile guys, but they are kind of aggressive moves. On the other hand, and I like that. On the other hand, I still wouldn't have traded Minka, and I still wouldn't have traded Laramie Tunsil. So, and look, I probably would have stuck with Josh Rosen for a longer period of time last year. I understand the players like Ryan Fitzpatrick more. He moved the team, he moved the offense, the locker room thing. But I probably would have stuck with Josh Rosen a little bit longer. That's speaking to Flores more than Greer. So, I see stuff on both sides. I'm not sure whether they're going to be like really aggressive tomorrow and trade up to number 3 just because. I don't know if they'll be out of the box and take an offensive tackle at number 5. I don't know if they'll be out of the box and take Jordan Love at 18 after taking Herbert or Tua at number 5. So, you might have a better handle on the Greer Flores thing. But this is kind of why I'm not sure. I'm kind of more inclined to go with a Steve Ross desire for the draft. I'm not sure the Greer Flores philosophy even now. Look, they want to win. They were never down for Tua, I know that, but the way they built, again, I wouldn't have traded Minka or Laramie, but, I like what I see from them. I'm not sure what their next big move will be.
Yeah, but the one thing, I at least this is what I view in Flores, dude. Flores is hardcore, like, oh, you don't want to be here? Like on the Minka thing. The Tunsil deal, dude, I understand that deal perfectly. Why you're going to have to pay him in a year a boatload of money. You're not ready to compete for a championship. So why are we going to spend all this money now? They're offering us 3 freaking picks. We feel confident in our ability that we'll replace him with one of those picks, and we'll use the other ones as bonus. So I understood that deal because you could not turn that deal down. It was so good. And really the timing was perfect for them to move on from Tunsil at the moment. The Minka one, the Minka one is where I look at Flores, and Flores is the kind of guy like, oh, you don't want to be here? Well, then get the hell out of here, dude. I'm going to win without you. So so he does things like bring Fitz back and bench Rosen because he wants to win, and he wants to win that locker room over, which is what he did. In order to instill that culture, you got to win that locker room over, and you got to do things that players respect. And if you're trying to win, and if you're giving the job to Nick Needham because he freaking earned it, not because he's your draft pick or you're trying to justify. No, he's a street free agent. He was better than all these other guys. That's why you're playing. These kind of messages, I think, are really important to Flores, and that's how he's establishing his culture. It's, hey, you earn your keep here, you will play. Now, if you don't want to be here, we will accommodate your ass and get you out of here because we want people that want to be here. We want Bobby McCain because we know he's a slot corner, but he's willing to play safety for us. We want Jesse Davis here because he'll play center, guard, water boy, tackle, whatever it is, because he's a team player. That's what they want. That's the message that they're sending. And if you don't follow that message, it's going to be the Dolphin way, not the Patriot way. And that's why I had no problem with the Minka thing. And look, dude, in the end, he was a whiny little bitch because he said he didn't want to be used like a jack of all trades. He wanted to be in one spot. And then the second half of his season in Pittsburgh wasn't as good as his first half. So at the end of the year, he told the coaches, no, you know what? Please move me around because I think it's better for me that the offense doesn't know where I'm going to be all the time. So meanwhile, what Flores wanted to do for him was better for the team and even for him, yet he was just thinking of himself. And in the end, he ends up thinking the way Miami wanted to use him anyway. So you know what I mean?
Well, Minka didn't want to be down in the box as a strong safety and doing run support and covering tight ends. That was the thing that he really didn't want to do, and that was how Flores was using him.
Dude, does Bobby McCain want to do safety? Come on. Does his little body want to do safety? Come on, dude. Yeah. No,
he does not. He does not. But look, yeah. But I will say this about about this team and when I was saying I don't know about their next move. I understand a lot of this stuff again with McCain, with Jesse Davis. I understand that. And I'll say this also regarding the draft and what they could do. They were willing to take a little bit of risk, right? When you look at the guys that I call the reclamation projects, right, where you had the first rounders and Josh Rosen and Taco Charlton and Robert Kimdichie. You had Mark Walton, who had some off-field issues. They are willing to take some risk. And we're talking about a different kind of risk when you're talking about taking Jordan Love at 18 as opposed to, bringing Kimdichie back. But it's all risk and putting players in different positions, moving Bobby Mayer at the slot and moving him to safety. That, you're taking risks. So, again, they are willing to take risks. So, if they want to trade up to 3 in this draft, if they want to go Isaiah Simmons in this draft at number 5, I wouldn't be shocked. I don't think that's what they're going to do. But again, judging the whole thing here, I don't have a good feel for what Flo and Greer are going to do. I like what they've done, but I don't really know if they're going to zig or zag with that number 5 pick tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, and by the way, I commend them because
Yeah,
they're kind of
great thing on their part.
Yeah, they've taken a page from the Miami Heat finally because
Yeah.
nobody ever. You've been on that beat. You know that's the toughest beat to crack out there, the Miami Heat. You can't get anything. We still don't know what Green was high on that day in that lobby in that hotel. Okay,
Exactly.
All right? We still don't know.
Right.
Okay,
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
So I love that they've taken a page out of this because we started this interview by asking you, dude. It was Tua first. It's Herbert. Now it's position, but they have kept everybody guessing. And to their credit, they're not reaching out to reporters because there's no longer a power struggle in there. So there's not people pitted against each other, so people aren't ratting each other out, and they're not talking. These guys are really together, and that's why you guys aren't able to crack that safe.
Yeah. This does seem to be right now a more unified front as far as, you don't have the little clicks that you saw before with Don Aponte and Joe Philbin and Jeff Ireland and everybody trying to earn Steve Ross's approval, and so they're climbing over each other. Yeah, that's not what this situation is.
Spielman and Wanstead ended up at each other's necks. You know what I mean? It's always been some political crap going on. Saban comes in, power move on Randy Mueller, all that stuff. It's always there's always been tension in that front office. There's always been some stinking power play, all of that. And that's one of the things I love about this Dolphin front office. It is really, truly one front office. And I got to tell you, Perk, and I can say this because you're on the air with me, the fact that all of these men are minorities and they know how important it is for them to succeed and the example that they're going to set for the rest of the NFL, I think they understand that too. And big picture wise, it's really important, not just for us as Dolphin fans to succeed, but for minorities, so we don't treat the Jim Caldwells the way we've treated them, that Matt Patricia has no business taking his job when he can't even hold a candle to Jim Caldwell. That's the kind of shit that needs to stop in the NFL, and these guys can put an end to it because, as you know, copycat league, now you got a minority coach and a minority front office. Now all these other owners are going to say, hey, you know what? We need to open up our eyes, and we need to open up other avenues here.
Yeah, well, I hope it works like that. It really hasn't worked that way in the coaching profession. Wait a minute. You and I are old enough, my brother. We have evolved with black quarterbacks. Okay, we have evolved big time with black quarterbacks. Finally, we trust them. Finally, we don't look at them like a stinking athlete every single time. We look at them and say, hey, these are real quarterbacks. These are leaders of our franchises. We're willing to give Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson and so on and so forth the opportunity, and Pat Mahomes and you name it. And so we have changed in that area. I know it's super slow, my brother, and I apologize for our society that way. But we have made some progress. You know what I mean? On the coaching we have side, that's where we need to advance a little bit more. I agree. Right. That's gonna be the final frontier, is getting into the front office, because the coaching thing has been approached. It hasn't. We still see some guys out there that the Eric Bieniemys of the world, who should probably get a little bit more attention. Chris Richard in Dallas, but. I think, the front office, that's why I say I hope it works that way. That's kind of the last frontier. There have been strides made in coaching and coordinators and stuff like that, but, that's kind of the last frontier. So we'll see what happens. And look, and quite honestly, that's another part of the unknown with this Dolphin team, in that you do have some old heads in the scouting department when you look at like Ron Brockington and Matt Winston and Adam Ingroff, but we'll see what Reggie McKenzie and Marvin Allen bring to this room, along with Flo and kind of their way of thinking. Jim Caldwell won't be here, of course, for this draft, but again, there is some different thinking up top. I know Chris Greer is a holdover, but Flores and Marvin Allen and Reggie McKenzie. So just another layer of I have no idea what to expect at number 5 tomorrow night, Big O.
Follow him on Twitter at Chris Perk. What are you doing at The Athletic, my brother, so folks can check you out throughout the draft?
You know, we're going to have discussion rooms on our site, theathletic.com. We've still got our 90-day free trial going on. I'm going to do my final mock draft for tomorrow. And I'm actually, you tell me this, Big O. You can help me figure this out. What should be the format that I do it? Should I do what the Dolphins are likely to do? Or slash what's likely to happen, what Chris Perkins, the GM, would do? Or should I do like a few 3-round scenarios of what if the Dolphins trade up? What if the Dolphins go non-quarterback? I'm so close to it. Sometimes I don't know what would be best. What would be the best way to present this mock draft? What would you like to see tomorrow when you wake up from the Dolphins' perspective on a mock draft?
What I would love from you is what you've heard and you think the Dolphins might do. On the flip side, what you, after you've gathered your information, what you would like to do, because that's how I do it. Hey, look, they'll probably go this way. This is what I would do. This is what I like. This is the player I like. Because I think the reader or the listener, I think they're interested in what the host or the reporter who is covering it, what they like in their angle, obviously. And then they want to know from what information you've gathered what you think they may end up doing and that.
Right.
So I think you give those two perspectives, what you think they'll do and what Chris Perkins, the GM, would do, because that's a lot of fun. Yeah, and plus, it's great material for the listeners, the readers, whatever, because they know that you and I are going to be wrong a whole bunch, so then they can slam us. You know,
exactly,
that's it.
Man. Exactly, Big O. On the record, baby.
Yeah.
I don't mind putting my ignorance on the record, man. It's earned me a living for 30+ years, Big O. I don't mind it.
I'm with you, bro. 30 years. I'm like McDonald's. You know, billion served. I've been billion times wrong. You know, that's
right.
I hand out the bad opinions. That's all. You know.
Exactly. Hey, it's like baseball, right? Tomorrow's a new day. We could go 5 for 5 tomorrow, Big O. We might be over 37, but maybe we could break out tomorrow. So yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, hey, listen. 4 years ago, I'm standing there. For months, I was going, we got to take Devontae Parker. Hey, for 4 years, they're going, hey, you asshole, you wanted Devontae Parker.
That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes, baby. That's the way it goes, Big O.
It's a beautiful thing.
You went on the record, and I respect